you want to give me like a top 5 tracks currently?
Well, it's only a 12-track album.
Well,
I
sure, but give
mean,
me a top five. Give me a top 6 then. Give me your top half
okay, okay. Top half of Life of a
in
Showgirl
order,
in
please.
in order. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I'm gonna go my top six. I think number one, it's between Ophelia and Opalite. I really like
Mhm.
them both a lot. So one's one and one's two, and I think it kind of depends on my mood. I'm gonna go with Opalite's happier. I'll go with Opalite one, Ophelia two. Although I think Ophelia probably sticks in my head a little bit more. I mean, they're both the two best tracks in my. So that's one and two, Opalite, Ophelia. The three kind of moves around for me. I think right now it's probably Life of the Showgirl. I
Okay.
really, really
All
like
right.
that one. It
Sure.
really,
Yeah, it's
really
good.
has stuck with me. So I'm gonna go Life of the Showgirl 3. I'm gonna go Canceled 4,
Mhm.
Wish List 5, and 6 is tough. Or they're all tough. Probably Father Figure 6.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a very reasonable list. We got a lot of overlap. I was
Sure.
gonna say wish list has been moving up
Yeah, it's good.
my
Catch 'em up.
it's been moving
Mm-hmm.
up my list as well. I like it a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
I of course went to the premiere event where Taylor explained the meaning behind all the songs,
Sure.
which was a lot of fun. Except for Wood, she kind of, she
Yeah.
at least came clean on Fallon and kind of
Uh-huh.
admitted that that one got a little bit out of control on her, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, I agree. Fate of Ophelia and Opalite are 1 and 2 for me. I'll go Fate of Ophelia
I
one,
like that.
Opalite
Sure.
two.
They're both very good.
And for me, then I really like Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
It's got a great little hook on it. So that's probably my number
Mm-hmm.
3. And then Father Figure is my number 4. So those are the first 4 tracks on the album, my
Mm-hmm.
top 4,
It's a
just
top
not
heavy.
quite
It's
in
a
the
top heavy
exact.
album,
It is a top heavy album for
which is fine.
sure. I really like Father Figure a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It just it's got some zingers in there,
Does.
like the people that say she can't write anymore are out of their minds. I think then, so I have 2 selections left, and this is where it gets tough because like I said, Wishlist is
There's a
moving
lot of good
up,
tracks on this one, you
but I
know?
think I think it's maybe just outside of my top 6 because I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
go Canceled 5, title track 6, and that would be my top 6 for Life of the Showgirl. Amazing album. 10 out of 10. Welcome into It's Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom. I'm Austin. Find me on X at Real Bird Lawyer, Bird Law Expert on Blue Sky. Here with me on my yeah, here with me as always, my co-host Taylor at Taylor_Wit on X, IASIC on Sky. Here's what happened here. I Ron Burgundy this, but I
Yeah.
forgot that I write this here as always, and that is not
It's a tough phrase, right?
yeah, it's sort of an odd turn of phrase. In any
Here
case,
as always.
yeah, here's always my co-host Taylor. I'm gonna have to
We
go
could
back a couple
maybe,
episodes and see.
why don't we
I mean, I always copy paste that.
yeah, why don't we rethink of a new intro for you next week? Like a, I don't
Sure,
know.
we'll
We'll
try something
spice it up.
completely
We'll try.
different.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, we need to do something different because what we're doing now ain't working, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
that's a
that's
theme
what's
of
up.
that's the theme of the episode.
That's what's
So
up for me. Nothing's really working.
this is an episode following a loss. So we have our special system, the Mac, Morn accused Cope. And we'll give a cursory preview of Chiefs versus Lions at Arrowhead on Sunday. I don't want to spend a lot of time dwelling on that because you and I both have strong feelings about how that game is going to go. Spoiler alert, not well. But uh, the Mac is a reliable system for us,
Mhm.
and it's a way for us to vet our feelings in a constructive and positive way that ends, with a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of sunniness in Chiefs Kingdom. So I mean, honestly, we're recording this on a Tuesday. We wanted to get in and knock this out. There's no news yet.
No.
Chiefs came out of the game clean, injury wise. Rasheed Rice is still a game away, but we'll see him in 2 weeks against the Raiders. Let's get into the Mac. So, Morn accused Cope. We start with Morn. These are just things that we're sad about, that we're bummed out about. For me, it's just the loss of what this game could have been after the first three drives of the game. So, they punted on the first drive, but they made it to midfield and they had fourth and short and they could have gone for it and probably would
Should
have
have.
converted it because they were doing whatever they wanted on offense. And he got a little tight and decided to punt the ball away, except, they forced three and out. They come back, they score a touchdown. The Jags get it down to, goal to go, and Trevor Lawrence fumbles the ball. And then the Chiefs go down and score a 97-yard touchdown drive in 5 plays, and they're up 14-0. And everybody everybody ate. I mean, EGE, but like everybody ate. Like Charles Omenihu, who got a sack
Mhm.
for the first time in forever. He looked good. Kareem Hunt had a 30-yard run. Isaiah Pacheco had a 30-yard run. Didn't think either of those things were possible, in this day and age, the year of our Lord. Travis Kelce had a touchdown. Everybody was turning back the clock. And I tweeted after the Chiefs went up 14-0 that you're watching the best team in the AFC and the best quarterback in the NFL. And I truly felt that. So the mourn is that we didn't get that the rest of the game. And now I don't believe any of those things are true, except for Pat still being the best quarterback in the NFL. But man, I mean, our dear friend Randy, who we'll talk to probably in a week or two, DM'd us and said, if the Chiefs win, I want to come on this week to talk
Yeah,
about it.
he was fired up.
So, we were excited to talk to our friend Randy. Even halfway into the Jags drive down 14-0, their vibes were bad, their body language was bad. The Chiefs had them in third and long, and then we'll save this for a Q's, but
Right.
a
Then you know what
series
happened.
a
Yeah.
series of unfortunate events transpired. The Chiefs looked bad for most of the rest of the game, and it sucks. I'm sad about that.
They played just two completely different games. Just absolutely went from doing whatever they wanted, from dominating on both sides of the ball, from looking like the team that was more physical and more hungry and more explosive and everything that we've asked this team to be in a big game, because we know that they're capable of winning games. We've known this. What we've wanted to see was them dominate, was to them go out there and be like, we are, I mean, very similar to what they did to the Ravens, and go out there and actually prove that that's who they are. And really, I thought that's who they were. I thought that's who
Yeah,
we were seeing. I tweeted levels of back that have never before been comprehended by mankind. I mean, I
sure,
really
sure.
thought that they had
We're feeling
come
it.
all the way back, and that's how it looked. Pat ran in from 9 yards out. He did the brush the jersey off. He flexed. Chiefs were up 14. They just looked like they were about ready to steamroll the Jaguars. This 3-1 really good Jaguars team. Let's make no mistakes. These Jaguars are very good. But maybe they're not. Maybe this is just was the Chiefs. You and I were talking about this game. I mean, as we always do all the time, and we said that the Chiefs are better at beating themselves than anyone else is. They are their
Yeah.
classic worst enemy. And this was another case. We'll talk about this in accused, but more self-inflicted wounds, more mistakes, more things that just felt like they were mental and not physical. I I'm so with you on mourning the fact that the offense was just humming. And really the defense looked good. They forced three
Sure.
and out.
Yeah.
I
Right.
know that they had the full length drive that got the Jags down to the one, but then they forced a fumble. The Jags had not lost a fumble all year in their first 4 games. And Nick Bolton punches the ball out when Lawrence tried to go high, which, first of all, the QB sneak going high, that's just
Yeah.
so risky. Like, just go
At the
low,
goal
man.
line.
You'll
At
get
the
it.
goal line. Yeah. Come
Haven't you
on.
watched the Eagles? The Eagles never go high. Why do you think that is? Because you could just go low and burrow your way in there and get it. So, anyways, they were cooking and then they got cooked. It was just a brutal show.
This is a really fast one. I don't want to spend any time thinking about this, but the Broncos won, put the Chiefs in
They
third
beat the
place in the division.
Eagles.
They beat the Eagles, and their fans are feeling it. People talking about how great Bo Nix is, how he's better than Patrick Mahomes, and like the problem is you just have to eat that shit because your team lost and their team won, and they beat the Eagles and we didn't beat the Eagles. And sure, you could show them the grading that says that Bo Nix is like a bottom 10 QB. Sure, you could flex the fact that we have 4 rings to 3 and we own their asses in the head-to-head series. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't
No.
matter because they beat the Eagles, we lost to the Jags, and so this week there's just nothing you could do except block and or mute everyone that ats you on social media, which is what I've been doing. Uh, this is sort of a pre-morn. It's sort of a pre-morn, but we have to talk about this. We have to talk about the Chiefs' playoff chances. Uh, I recognize there's a lot of season left, but I also want to be realistic for our listeners about what the Chiefs face in their remaining schedule. Uh, so you have 12 games left. You
Mhm.
realistically you need to go probably at least 10-7, and you might need some tiebreakers if you're 10-7. You still have 5 division games ahead of you, so you could potentially win the division.
So at 2-3 to
At
get to
ten and
10 and
seven,
7, that's 8-4. The
sure, 8-4.
remaining, just trying to, yeah.
You got three gimmies in there. So then you need to go 5-4 over the remaining 9 games. The three gimmies are you get the Raiders twice and you get the Titans. Those are both bottom 5 teams in football. The Raiders are currently 29th in DVOA. The Titans are 30th. And yes, one of the teams below them is the Bengals, who are 32nd. Uh, Other than those three games, and division games are always funky. The Chiefs have not been threatened by the Raiders at all in
Mm.
a while. And the Raiders look terrible, but they have a professional head coach, and who knows, maybe Geno Smith looks washed, but maybe Geno Smith isn't even their QB by the time the Chiefs play them in a couple of
Sure.
weeks, or certainly late in the season.
Or he'll be
Uh,
fighting for his job and he'll go ballistic because his back's against the wall. And I mean, either
sure,
way, we've
either
seen it.
way,
Yeah.
Raiders twice, Titans, those are easy wins. Cross those off the list. All right, so here's the rest of the schedule that you need to go 5-4 against to guarantee yourself. I mean,
I don't even know if 10 and 7, I don't know.
sure.
But
So 6-3 against this to guarantee yourself a playoff
yeah,
spot.
agreed. 11 and 6 would do it. Yep.
Sure. So you have last year's NFC number one seed, the best team in the NFC last year, and the current best team in the NFL by both record tied and by DVOA. They're the number one team in DVOA. We'll talk very briefly about their stats when we get to the preview. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. That's the Lions, of course, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
You have last year's NFC runner-up, which is currently the number 5 team in DVOA. That's the Washington Commanders.
They're number 5 in DVOA.
Yeah. And
That's a little surprising to me.
that's been with a game and a
They
half of
missed.
Marcus Mariota.
Yep.
I
Right.
mean,
Terry
that's a really
McLaurin's been out.
sure.
They
It's a really
lost Eckler early, and so that's been a rookie, Bill Krosky Merritt. I
it's
mean,
unfortunately a very good team by DVOA. We'll see
yeah.
how good they actually are, but they're thought of very highly by the analytics. You get the AFC's leading team, the Buffalo Bills, in Buffalo. The Bills are
Uh-huh.
also top 10 in DVOA. You have a Broncos team that nearly beat you twice last year. Now, granted, one of those games doesn't count, but we have to acknowledge that the Chiefs were fortunate to escape with the win on the blocked field goal in the game where they played their starters against the
Correct.
Broncos. And this Broncos team, I mean, I still think that the quarterback is bad. The roster is extremely good. It's
Uh-huh.
it's a it's an Eagles-esque team,
Yeah. Yeah.
not in terms of the offensive supporting cast, but the defense is incredibly good. The quarterback sucks, but their line play is incredible. Both of their offensive and defensive lines are outrageous. That's a team that almost beat you twice last year. The Colts, authors of 100 Kansas City heartbreaks, and this
Mm.
time they're actually good. We have lost
Yes.
to in 2022, we lost to a Colts team that won 3 games. Okay, and that was one of our 2 losses in the regular season where we played our starters. And this time the Colts are actually good. They're the number 3 team in the NFL in DVOA this year. So the Chiefs have to play the Colts. They have to play the Cowboys, who are 15th in DVOA. They kind of suck, but they have an electric offense.
Yeah.
Some of those numbers are being dragged down by the fact that they've only had CeeDee Lamb for 2 games. He'll be back this week or next. He'll definitely be back by November when the Chiefs are playing them. You get last season's AFC South winner, which, along with the 2-3 Chiefs, is one of the 15 best 2-3 teams of all time by DVOA. They are below the Chiefs. Chiefs are 5th. I think the Texans are 11th or 12th, 13th. But they are, and granted, their blowout win over Baltimore's doing some work there, but that's a
So's
real
ours.
sure. So's ours. That's a really good team. And then you get the Chargers again. And that murderer's row, you have to go 6-3 to guarantee yourself a playoff spot. And one of those games you're not going to have Rashee Rice. It's against the Lions this weekend. So if you don't win the Lions game, you have to go 6-2 to guarantee yourself a playoff spot against that lineup of really good teams. So yes, I recognize there is a lot of space left in the season. That's a tough schedule, man. That's a really hard schedule, and you have already, as Pat put it this week, you already have too many losses to be looking at that schedule and think ooh, we kind of have to be nearly perfect the rest of the year.
You wrote yourself a little note at the end of that schedule run,
Yes, I did. It
which
says, "Fuck."
it's it's not good, man. You know, when we talk about the playoff chances or how we or why we're worried about things. I know I've probably said this too many times to count on this pod, but like everyone has to get on the same page that it is not a referendum on fandom to say that you are worried about your team being able to win football games. And
Right.
it
Sure.
doesn't mean that you don't like your team or that you are stupid or whatever. It's just that the NFL is very hard. And we are watching a team that isn't able to win games right now. It's one thing if the Chiefs were 5-0 and we were like, but we've got this really hard schedule and there's a chance they implode and start losing all their games, like whatever. But like they're under 500 right now. They are 2
Yeah.
and 3.
Yeah.
And just to put into some perspective how little of adversity the Chiefs have faced in the Mahomes era, these are the number of regular season losses by Mahomes every year. Okay.
Sure.
4, 3, 1, 5, 3, 6, 1, and then currently 3 with 12 games to go.
That's crazy.
So like this is uncharted territory for the Chiefs other than 2021 where they lost 5 games that year, but they started off 2 and 3 and then only lost 2 the rest of the year. They figured it out. They got it together.
Until
And
the AFC Championship
until the
game.
AFC Championship when it fell apart in the worst way it's ever fallen apart. But the the fact that we are sitting here talking about like, damn guys, this is going to be really hard to make the playoffs. I push back on everyone that hears that reaction or that thought, that take, and says like, oh, well, you just don't believe in this
Yeah,
team.
of course they'll be in the playoffs.
Haven't you seen this team face adversity in the past? Haven't you seen them come back when everyone counted them out? Blah 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 blah. It's all narrative. It's not reality. It's not the fact that nothing that the Chiefs have done in the past is going to win them these next 12 games. Nothing. There's no you cannot pull the scoreboard card on games that have already happened when you play the new games. And I just think that there's a little bit of reality check that people need to realize, which is that the Chiefs, despite being a good team, I think they are a good team.
I agree. They
Like
are a good
the
team. They
DNA
are
of
a
the
good
team
team.
is good. Like
Yeah.
they have competitive pieces and they have the ability to be good. We saw exactly what when they're good, they're up 14-0 at Jackson, a
Sure.
good Jacksonville team.
Yeah.
But you just need you we've lost all margin for error, all of it. You cannot lose 3 of your first 5 and have any seasonal margin for error moving forward. And so I mourn that. I mourn the fact that we used to have a pretty comfortable our race was always for the last 7 years was about the 1 seed. Like every year. Every single year it's about can we finish the regular season at with the best record in the AFC and get a bye and position ourselves so the playoffs go through Arrowhead. Remember, this team's only played 2 road playoff games in
Mm-hmm.
7 years. It's
Mm-hmm.
impossible to be as good as they've been in the last 7 years. And this is just proof that sometimes those 11 one-score wins that you won last year turn into 3 one-score defeats.
Sure.
And that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, and like this a little bit of cope.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. We bleed over.
Sometimes we blur
Yeah.
sometimes we blur the lines
Yeah.
of the different things here.
This is
But
therapy, is what this is.
to wrap up your thought there, like it's hard to do what the Chiefs do every year in and year out. It's hard. And it's I think it was our friend Zach, the layman's terms, that characterized it as the Chiefs being due for a gap year. A gap year is a great way to describe it. Like
Yeah,
teams
it is good.
teams can't do what the Chiefs are doing every year. Even Brady missed the playoffs a couple of times. Now, granted, I think his only time with New England, other than the time he was hurt,
Second year.
was his second season after
Yep.
he had won the Super Bowl.
Between literally he
First
won
season.
3
Yeah.
out of 4, and the one that he didn't win, he didn't make the playoff.
Sure. But he did have one.
Yep.
And, we're seeing it right now with the Bengals and the Ravens, who
Mhm.
both seem prohibitively unlikely to make the playoffs this year. And, the Ravens traded away Odafe Owe today. They traded
Yeah.
away one of their maybe not better because none of the guys on their defensive line are playing well right now, but like a guy that before the season you would have said, oh yeah, this guy's important to the Ravens defense. Like it kind of almost pre-waving the white flag there. Now, granted, both those
Right.
teams have injured quarterbacks and the Chiefs don't. But the point is, like those teams
Herbert's hurt?
Oh, I was talking about the Bengals and the
both
Ravens.
teams. I see.
Yeah,
Yep.
they are, like those teams have both missed the playoffs. Josh Allen has not missed the playoffs yet since he kind of took off in 2019, his first 10-6 year. They have 6 straight division titles. Josh Allen also plays in the AFC East.
Right.
I wanted to wrap up the point that you made about 2021 and the Chiefs facing adversity before. Yeah, the Chiefs have been 2-3 before, and they made the playoffs that year. They won the division that year. They actually got the 2 seed that year.
Mhm.
You know why? Because the 1 seed was the 12-5 Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Okay, like yeah, the AFC that year was not good. The Bills were 11-6. The Bengals won the AFC North at 10-7. That I mean, the Titans and the Chiefs were tied for the best record in the AFC, and the second best, or there were two 13-win teams in the NFC. They were tied for the AFC lead with 12 wins. And in the AFC West, where last year we had 3 playoff teams, it looks like if the Chiefs make it, we're probably going to have 3 again with the Raiders and or the Broncos and Chargers. The second best team in the AFC West in 2021 was the 10-7 Raiders. Like
Mhm.
with a negative 65 point differential, by the
I know.
way, the 10-7 negative 65 point differential Raiders. There were a ton of bad teams in the AFC that
I
year.
believe the Raiders won one of those games on the hilarious Patriots backwards pass that they intercepted and ran in for a walk-off touchdown, remember? Where I mean, the Raiders were winning games in ways that they shouldn't have, and they scraped by to 10-7.
Yeah, I mean, we beat them 48-9 that
Sure,
year and 41-14. And in fact,
sure.
they
Yeah.
would have had an even point
Yeah,
differential if you took out their 2 games against us.
sure, it
But
happens.
still, the point
Yeah.
is, the Chiefs face a much tougher road this year. It sucks. Like, this is another thing that I'll just add this to the more. And like, I don't understand how the Chiefs keep getting such hard schedules.
I
Part
know.
of it is the division. Like Buffalo, the AFC East, those 2 teams in the gutter, the Dolphins and the Jets, they got abused, as did the Bills, for 20 years while Brady was there. And they
Correct.
were like, we're not even going to try to be good because,
No.
like, what's the point? Brady will own us. New England owns us,
And in
whatever.
fact, there is one winless team in the NFL right now, and it's the New York Jets.
Yeah. And so this year, I mean, the point is they just transitioned to a different daddy. And at least the Patriots, we have to give them,
Yeah.
their flowers.
Yeah,
They
sure.
went into Buffalo and Drake May handed the Bills their first loss, which is cool.
Hmm.
And that's great. But like they still have 2 of the very worst teams in the NFL. 2 bottom 5 teams, one winless and one in Miami that looks worse
Yeah.
than the Jets.
Yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
like,
Agreed.
and
They're a dumpster
they
fire.
have one win. So,
Yeah.
like 2 teams that are with a combined 1-9 record. While the Chiefs are playing the Bills in the AFC East, the Broncos are getting the Jets, and the
And
Chargers are getting the Dolphins.
and
So
by the
like,
way, the Dolphins, their one win was against the Jets. So
right,
you know,
sure, yeah, exactly.
that's how
Those 2
this
teams
goes.
are a combined 0 and whatever outside of
Yeah.
their own division.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, like it is hard. The Bills have this tweet got a lot of traction and made a lot of Bills fans mad. All I
Yeah.
was doing was posting an interesting fact about the NFL. The Bills have the 13th easiest schedule of all time by
Ever.
DVOA ever in the
And they're a
history of
first
the
place
NFL.
team.
Yeah, they're a first place team, which means they're playing other first place teams, and somehow they have the 13th easiest schedule of all time. And I don't know where the Chiefs rank on that schedule, but it's not the 13th easiest
It's
schedule
probably the
of all time.
13th hardest.
It's much closer to the 13th hardest than it is the 13th easiest. Um, I'll throw another morning out here. This is a lot of mourning, and I want to get to accused because we have a lot of accusations.
Mhm.
I just think it's hard to trust the Chiefs. And like I was
Yeah.
all the way back. I kind of stole this morning from you a little bit. We were exchanging some chats earlier. I'll be upfront about it. But you kind of said like, Chiefs are up 14-0, and the Jags are in 3rd and long at midfield and they're about to punt. Like
It was there.
you were there. I
Yeah.
was there. We were all
Yeah.
the way back. We were fully prepared to believe this is the best team in the AFC. They were going to win the Super Bowl.
Totally.
And then they collapse in a way that we haven't seen since that Bengals game in the 2022 AFC Championship game, 2021 season.
31-14 run by the Jags.
Just sucks because like even if the Chiefs get hot and even if the Chiefs play well the rest of the year, this loss is the kind of loss as a fan. I'm not saying that the team feels this way, but as a fan, this loss is something that like the Chiefs could run the table the rest of the year. Now, if they ran the table,
Yeah, we'd be
maybe
back. We'd be
you could
back. Look,
maybe
this,
you could
with
maybe
this
you could forget
schedule,
about it. Okay.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Maybe you could forget about it,
But
right?
I know
But
what you
like
mean. I know what you mean.
let's say the Chiefs are 11-6, they're a
Yeah.
wild card team.
Yeah.
And you're playing in the first round of the playoffs on the road.
At Jacksonville, probably.
probably at Jacksonville, or at Indianapolis,
Yeah.
like uh at an AFC South team on the road in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh my God, or at the Chargers.
This is the kind of game that like would haunt you as a fan, right? Like
Mhm.
you could say, yeah, the Chiefs did some good things since week 4 or week 5, but like I can't trust them. Like I can't trust them. And I get that we're maybe even in the minority as Chiefs fans here. Cause like I get it. Listen, like the Chiefs have built up a lot of goodwill. They built up a lot of trust. And I love that for everybody that still has that. Um, this loss really shook me to my core, if I'm being honest. You know?
I would posit that there are more Chiefs fans that think about the pre-Mahomes Chiefs more
Sure. Yep.
often.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
look, they did build up as much goodwill as one like era
Sure.
of a
Yeah.
quarterback coach can build up
I
in
mean,
in the
we're in a
shortest period of
dynasty,
time. We're in a
you know?
dynasty. We're literally in the middle of a dynasty, and there's still Randy calls it scar tissue, which of course that's a perfect way of describing it. There's still the like I'm a Chiefs fan before anything else. Like
Yeah.
I have grown up with this team. This is
Right.
not a new
Right.
experience. Obviously, you know, 20, 30 years of fandom will the Chiefs have one of the worst franchise experiences before Mahomes ever. We
Yeah.
deserved him more than almost anybody. I won't say everyone because there are still some
Yeah. The
worse.
Browns
Yeah,
exist,
the Lions.
Yeah.
There's a couple, but like they, the fact that the Chiefs are now back to the kind of point where you're saying you can't trust the Chiefs. There are a lot of people that never even trusted the Chiefs, even with Mahomes,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
and we would have to kind of convince them like, hey, the laundry doesn't matter. This is a new team. This is a new blah 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 blah. But like, yes, I'm with you. We are now mourning the fact that we were able to trust the Mahomes Chiefs for the vast majority of the last 7 years. I mean, it kind of took a little bit to build up. 2018 was fun, but then they lose in the playoffs and in the AFC Championship, and it's kind of like, well, they're fun now, but are they any good? Then they win all those Super Bowls, and it's like, oh, they're the best team in sports history. And
Yeah,
then
and I mean,
now,
they had the bad Super Bowl loss and they came back the next
and
year and looked
correct,
bad and lost in the AFC Championship game. And that was really like that was the
that
pit
was pretty
of
rough.
despair
That
was
was pretty
after
rough.
the Cincinnati loss.
Yep.
It took a while to build back up, but then they literally won the next two Super Bowls, right? Like they're
And
literally
got to a third. I mean, like
exactly.
they had the
Exactly.
best 3 year stretch in NFL history after the Cincinnati game. That's how they responded to that. And
Yes.
and I don't think that we are saying or that we believe that the Chiefs are cooked and that they can never win again and blah blah blah. It's not to say that we're pronouncing them dead, but what we are saying now is that they are mortal. They are they are Superman that you can see him bleed now. And he used to not bleed and he used to just save the day and everything was real easy and now someone figured out how kryptonite works and now all of a sudden the superhero looks a little vulnerable and we're just saying like, "Oh shit, dude, kryptonite sucks." Like
Yeah.
this is a concern for us. And because the way that the season is going right now is concerning. I will throw one last mourn out and then
Yeah.
we will go on to accuse. And that is that I am mourning that the Chiefs had won 39 straight games when winning the turnover battle, which dates back to 2019 before they lost
19.
on Monday. And this streak was the third longest in NFL history, as you would imagine, 39 straight games of winning the turnover battle. I know you need to win the turnover battle in the NFL to win, but obviously if that's the third longest ever, it's not easy to do. Now, I'm also noting that this marks the third time this season that I have tweeted about a streak or
Oh
record
man.
that immediately gets
Come
broken as
on,
soon as I
man.
tweet about it. I tweeted
Yeah.
about the 39 straight games. I tweeted about the Mahomes had never lost three in a row. And he did. And that Mahomes started the most games ever before losing his 30th game. And then his very next game, he lost his 30th game. I need to stop tweeting about the Chiefs and about good stuff about the Chiefs. I need to take a page out of your book and I need to follow your lead and I need to only tweet about bad shit because it's not working for me. I'm mourning the fact that I used to be able to tweet all this cool stuff and then the cool stuff just remained cool. And
Yeah.
now I'm tweeting cool stuff and they immediately blow it. So
You know what's funny? I went to look up where this streak started because
which game?
you said 2019 and I was sure that I knew which game it was that was the last loss where they won the turnover battle because it was a game exactly like the game we just
Was
saw.
it Houston?
It
I
was
actually
not it was another team from the AFC South.
Colts.
No, it was the Titans. You
I
remember the
mean,
Titans game in 2019?
or so I'm thinking of
That's not where the streaks. That's not
those
actually where
two
it happened.
back-to-back home games
So
where they had against the Colts and
we lost
the Colts and Texans.
to every team in the AFC South that year except for the
Yeah,
Jags,
I
who we
remember.
beat in week 1.
Yeah.
We lost consecutive games to the Colts and Texans in weeks 5 and 6, which you remember. So the last game before the Chiefs started this streak, where the last time they lost while winning the turnover battle, was week 8 against the Packers, which was not a game started by
Mahomes didn't. No,
That
so
was
that's right. Yeah.
that was Matt Moore.
Yes.
But the game I was sure would be the last game before the streak started was that Titans game, the first one where Mahomes came back, where we outgained them by like 100 yards, more than that. They were even in that one, so that wasn't it. But
Bucker had a field goal blocked at the end of that game.
It reminded me of that
Titans pass to McCole Hardman. It was a crazy game, and yes, that does remind you of this Jags one because the offense looked good. They cooked. I mean, Mahomes had 400 yards in that game. It was, his first game back from the knee, so he wasn't really running, but he was throwing all the time. They looked explosive, and then next thing you know, we kind of because we were leading in that game, and then you kind of looked up, and you're like, oh, the Titans just ran down the field in a minute at the end of the game. Ryan Tannehill took them directly down. They were losing, and then he drove the length of the field. He scored to go up 3, and then we only had a few seconds left to try and get a field goal. We got within field goal range, but it was too long and it got blocked. But you're right. Similar setup for sure. This team, they tended to. Now, they also had the best record in the league. You would imagine the team that has the best record overall is going to have the best record in a lot of splits.
Yeah,
and
including with refs, by the way, which you pointed
including
out
with refs
to
Warren. Freaking Warren Sharp, who's driving me nuts. I used to really, really like his work, and he's a
clickbait
conspiracist, sycophant. Now I hate it. But they were 48-3 when they in that streak, and including the last 39 in a row, 48-3 in the Mahomes era when they won the turnover battle, and then they were when they were tied at turnovers, which normally you would expect. If you're tied, you're going to be about 500. The league average would be 500 because both teams are on that. Anyway, they were like 38-6, I think, when they were tied. And then when they lost the turnover battle, they were 25-21, and they were the only team above 500. We actually went over those numbers last week, but it underscores the fact that, they always would win in every situation. If they won the turnover battle, if they lost it, whatever, they figured out a way to win. This of course, is one of those times. The Chiefs have now lost 3 in a row of 1-score games after having an NFL record 17 in a row, including 11-0 last year. I mean, they used to be the kings of 1-score games. We remember that. That's all everybody used to bitch about, was that the Chiefs could only win close, but now they're going to bitch even more because they're not even winning.
Yeah, and all of those games, I mean, against the Chargers in week 1, and then Eagles. Obviously this week, and then the Eagles. Yeah, all 3 of those games, they had their chances in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. 100%.
I mean, there have been Chiefs teams in the past where we would have gotten the ball on the last drive of the game in both of these situations, and I mean, the drive was really good. The last drive was really good for the offense in this game. Let's get to accused, because
let's do it.
There's one side of the ball that we haven't talked about at all. There's really there's two sides. There's two sides of the ball that we have not talked about at all, and we're just gonna fucking rip them right now. So accused is obviously where we lay blame on different people, entities, things, whatever, for the loss.
Deities, whatever,
Yeah, exactly. I'll start off with Spags, man. Noah Williams played 3 snaps in this game. I listen to when things are going well. I have a strict policy where if the Chiefs lose, I'm not going to listen to any national podcast, especially if it's a primetime game. Most big national pods, they'll do like a pod just doing Monday Night Football. Like let's recap Monday Night Football. Didn't listen to any of those.
No,
I thought it was interesting over the first 4 or 5 weeks that there wasn't more national buzz over what Noah Williams is doing, because he, as we've talked about on the show, has been at or near the top of PFF's cornerback coverage grades the entire year. Now he hasn't played more than 20 snaps in a game, but when he's out there, he's playing really well. He's a rookie. They're kind of easing him in. His snap counts have been going up every week, right? He played 3, or maybe it was 4, 3 or 4 defensive snaps in this game. Total the entire game. Chamari Connor played 100% of the snaps. And like both of the games, the Eagles game notwithstanding, because the Chiefs had a good defensive game plan in that game, and it was
Yeah,
the offense that let them down. But
agreed.
against the Chargers and against the Jags, the other two losses, the Chiefs just have looked so outcoached on that side of the ball, which they almost never do. I mean, and if this were a playoff game, I'm sure Spags would bring it, but like he was bringing it in the first
Yeah.
quarter and a half, and everything just sort of changed. And what I'm frustrated by, what I don't understand is like the Noel Williams thing specifically just doesn't make any sense to me. Like the guy's a dog. I mean, literally last week, I think, last week or the week before, Spags came out and said, like, hey, he's playing good, which means we can play McDuffie in the slot. McDuffie played outside corner almost exclusively in this game. They gave Chamari Connor 100% of the snaps, and Noel Williams didn't play basically at all. And like, the results were not good. So
No,
like,
of course they weren't good because Noel Williams is way better than Chamari
it's
Connor.
like, what's frustrating about that is like, I don't even understand that, because even if the game plan for whatever reason, like maybe they wanted to use Chamari Connor's a better blitzer or whatever, maybe they wanted to throw some pressures in there, you know, have some nickel pressure packages, whatever, and bring Chamari Connor on a blitz or whatever. What I don't understand about how this transpired is like he was getting cooked. He was getting cooked the entire game, and they never pulled him. They never swapped him out. Like even if the game plan was like, all right, this is a Chamari Connor game and it's not a Noel Williams game. Like number one, that seems like a dubious game plan based on how the two of them have played this year. But number two, if that was the plan, change the plan. Like you can, it's not MLB, you know, where you pull a guy from the game, he can never come back, right? Like
that would be crazy.
This is football. You could take Chamari Connor out of the game and put Noel Williams in. And like, there was definitely a point in this game where that should have been done, and it didn't happen.
So I thought for sure when I heard after the game, the only number I saw at first, Noel Williams 4 defensive snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, he must have gotten hurt, or he must have been, you know, gassed. Like there must have been a physical reason why they couldn't play him more than 4 snaps. And then I saw the special team snaps. And Noel Williams was second on the team with 21 special team snaps behind Joshua Williams. So he was playing. He was out there for 25 total snaps, but 21 of them were on special teams. So like that's not where he has shown his elite ability so far this year. Not even close. He has been
special teams.
Yes, correct. We will. Speaking of Spags and the game plan, let's talk about Trevor Lawrence rushing. Why was there no spy? Why did they just continually rush from the outside and let Trevor Lawrence step up in the middle of the pocket and pick up as many yards as he wanted, including not only the game-winning touchdown, which was insane and not, I mean, that was...
I want to talk about that
in a second. But he had 10 attempts for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had by far the best rushing game of his career, of his pro career, at least. He was running all the time at Clemson. But
sure, everybody runs all the time.
Yes, and in college in general. But it was just a frustrating watching Spags not be able to adjust.
Yes,
to that.
What's happening? Why?
What are we doing?
Is he washed? What is he doing?
I mean,
it's the same thing with Herbert. Like this is
this
is exactly the same. We had this exact same conversation after week 1, and I mean, it's the same situation where, you know, clearly the game plan going into that game was bad, but they never changed it. They never adjusted it. Like the Chargers come out, they go through the whole first quarter. All they're doing is throwing the ball, or Justin Herbert is beating you scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just let them do that the entire game. They were like, oh, well, we thought they were going to run the ball, so we're just going to do the Chargers are running the ball 60% of the time game plan, and we're not going to change it at all. And like, why? What's happening? What I mean, like,
they've been capable of changing game plans in the past.
Exactly. And like, I get that in the playoffs, you know, maybe playoffs,
right?
Maybe it would be a little bit different, but like, these games still matter. And like, at this point,
you might not get to the
they
playoffs.
Matter. At this point, they matter a lot. So I don't know. Let's talk about the go ahead touchdown. Chris Jones. This will be a topic, I'm sure, on every podcast discussing the Chiefs, and probably a lot of national podcasts and talk shows and shouty shows, etc. as well. Ben, tough looking clip out there of him just walking, loafing on the go ahead touchdown where Trevor Lawrence had the ball on the ground or was on the ground himself twice and still gets in for the go ahead score. And like, I get that he was a little bit away from the play. He wasn't right on top of it, but
Mhm.
like, Chris Jones
Playing the
is
NFL
Chris Jones.
football.
Like you're
Hmm.
playing NFL football,
Hmm.
you could have gotten involved as that was like a slow motion train wreck that
Yeah.
play, and there was ample time for him to get involved in the play, and he just chose not to do it. Uh, the fact is, I mean, we know that it was a bad thing for him to do because he deleted his Twitter account after the game. He
Sure.
just decided to nope out of social media, and as somebody that has a love mostly hate relationship with social media. I
Mhm.
totally get that. I
Of
totally
course.
get it.
Of
But
course.
like, if I were to delete my Twitter account, there'd be like 10 people, all of whom I have on mute, that would notice and would care if I left and then came back. Chris is an NFL athlete, an elite NFL athlete with like 400,000 followers. I mean, like, I don't know that that was the right way to handle that situation. And I know that the play there was not the right way to handle that situation. It just is, it's a really, it's at best a very bad look for someone who has been the best player on the defense for a long time and is the de facto leader of the defense. It just, man, it's bad.
If that had been Mike Dana who did that, no one would even notice. It's like the fact that it's your best player and he's just standing there watching the
Mm.
other team's quarterback run in a game-winning touchdown. Now, I have seen some speculation because no one knows, no one's talked to Chris about this, nobody knows what was going through his head or whatever, but I've seen some speculation that he actually thought the play was over. That Chris Jones,
Mm.
I mean that Trevor Lawrence was down and sacked and he was kind of like okay, I'm letting go, getting ready for the next play, and then all of a sudden Lawrence was sneaking in there. I don't know. I don't know what to say because he hasn't given any explanation, and therefore all we're left to do is accuse him of loafing and of mailing it in and all that stuff. What I'm more concerned with than one play for Chris Jones is 9 games for Chris Jones. 9 games for Chris Jones where he has recorded 5 total tackles,
Oh boy.
which, by the way, is the same number of tackles that Jamar Chase has recorded so far this season.
Uh,
And 2 sacks in this time in these 9 games for Chris Jones. So two
which a
sacks.
sack is a tackle, right? Like,
I actually, that's a good question. I think it is.
I
Well, because like tackle for loss, like do they give you a tackle for a loss, and a
is a
sack every time you sack?
sack a tackle?
I don't
No,
think it
or
is.
it doesn't matter because the
Yeah, it
point
doesn't matter.
is
No, but he's been
even whether you're counting the sacks in there as tackles or whether they're in addition to the tackles, I mean add
yes,
the 2 sacks on there.
right.
That still adds up
7 times that you brought a ball carrier
7. Yeah,
down
exactly.
in 9 games. That's
That's not
less than
good.
one
That's
time a
not
game.
good.
And I know he's getting double teamed. I know
And
he,
he's creating pressures
I
and
know,
he's
I
still a
know,
game wrecker when he wants to be.
right, right. And I get that if I were, the other thing is, you have a couple options if you can't bring it every play successfully. You can either take some plays off and then become the most fearsome pass rusher on the team for the other plays, or you can be George Karlaftis and you can just be average every snap. Like that's your 2 options.
Right.
And I do think that if Chris can't be his ultimate form in every single play, then yeah, I would rather him take some plays off and then be able to come in and wreck shit when he's got the energy to. And I know that it's a physically demanding position and that he gets his ass kicked every game by the best interior lineman in the game, blah blah blah. I get it. It's just concerning. It's concerning because when your defense has relied on a guy for as many years as the Chiefs have relied on Chris Jones to
Yeah.
be a force and a game wrecker at that position, one of the best defensive tackles that's ever played the game.
Yep.
And then when he doesn't play like that, when he becomes a shell of his former self, it's a lot like what's happened to Kelsey, where yeah, Kelsey still can get some stuff done. He's still, like he's looked better these last 2 games than he did the
Mm-hmm.
first 3 for sure.
He
He looked
can
like
turn it up, dial it in.
yes, he looked like a ghost in the earlier part of the year, and he's become kind of more involved with the passing offense. But my point is, that's 2 Hall of Famers that were the life of your offense and defense. And now it's not that they're gone from the team and you have to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
They're still on the team. They're
Yeah.
still, Chris Jones is still playing all the time. Travis Kelce's still playing all the time, but now you don't get their production and it's like, ooh, it's not nearly as fun when they're not really good all the time.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I've sort of put out a soft version of this take a couple of times. I think like it's a leadership problem too when those guys are not playing well. I mean, we talked about it with Travis with the interception and taking out Xavier Worthy in the first game of the season. Like he contributed, and then Chris missing contain on
Mm-hmm.
Herbert on the last
Mm-hmm.
play in Rio, and like it just is. It's a tough look when the guys, and it's a tough look when the guy that's supposed to be the leader of your defense is deleting his social media because people are cooking him online. Like,
Sure.
I get that it sucks. Like the world that we live in is cruel, and people will say really horrible things. And like, I don't
Correct.
super blame him for that, but it just is a tough. It's just a tough look. Quick hitter on this one because we know it's a problem. Pass rush in general, it's a problem. It was a problem
Yeah.
in this game. Charles Omenihu got a sack for a first time in literally like forever.
Did you see the Mike Dana stat?
No.
He had the game of his season this week. He had his first and only pressure of the season. That was his only
Oh,
stat. One
oh my
pressure.
God. I mean, you mentioned Karlaftis. Like Karlaftis ranks pretty highly, or at least he did before this game. I haven't seen since
Yeah,
then. He was
agreed. He was
top
top
10 or
five.
top,
He was top
yeah,
five
in
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 pressure rate.
total
Hmm.
pressures.
Hmm.
But a lot of those are like coverage pressures. He's not ever going to beat somebody for an instant pressure like Nick Benito,
No.
who also just got paid, and was a lower draft pick, for the Broncos, who just seem to find these pass rusher centuries. Whatever, it's fine. They also have a coach that is okay with small guys that can bend and not just big guys that are going to bully you on the outside, and bull rush you from the edge. Whatever, it's fine. It's a problem. Let's transition over to the offensive side of the ball for a second. Obviously, the pick six, 14-point swing there. The Chiefs were going to score a touchdown. The Jags score a touchdown instead. That's -7 for the Chiefs, +7 for the Jags. He got baited. He knows better. Like he's 30 years old. He's a man. He should know better than to make that throw. I mean, and you said it. Like the two picks he's thrown this year. Granted, the one to Travis was more on Travis than on Pat.
Yeah,
Although
hit him. Hit.
Pat could have thrown a better ball there too. I
Sure.
mean, it was a little bit behind him, but like
You can always throw a
uh
better ball. I
you can
mean,
always throw a better ball. This was
got to
just
catch stuff.
this was a dumb mistake by Pat. Um, I'm not sure that it would have mattered if not for the play calling up 14 to nothing
Mm,
and the decision making really the entire game. Like
mm.
Jesse Newell, who I think writes for the Star, if memory
Kansas City Star.
serves.
That is
Yep.
correct.
He pointed out that the Chiefs, there's an EPA stat that tracks essentially how much coaches are adding in terms of their go decisions.
Hmm.
The Chiefs were fifth in that category. So like they're getting good goes and they're converting those,
On the
fourth
season.
downs on the season
Okay.
before this game.
Okay.
And after this game, they were 14th. So
Oh, so
I
they
mean, like
they had to have been 30th this week. I
they
mean,
lost a lot of ground this week.
mhm.
I saw, we're both fans of the surrender index,
Yeah.
the punt bot that tells you which punts are cowardly. The first punt on the first drive, I think they had 4th and 2 at what, 50-ish.
Yeah,
It was
right around midfield.
midfield.
Hmm.
That was in like the 91st percentile of cowardly punts, like since however long the tractor has been going, which is several years at this point.
Fourth and
Like,
two at the Jags 46.
ugh. I mean, like, and you were moving the ball. Like
Moving.
there was a guy open on every play, and Pat
Hmm.
was hitting them. Like it
Hmm.
was still a scripted drive, and the offense was clicking on a level that we haven't seen. I mean, we saw it last week against the Ravens, but like
They were clicking.
at that point, you're on to really like 6 quarters. Going back to the second half of the Giants game of good clicking offense, and you looked like you could do whatever you wanted, and instead you punt the ball. And
They were at
I
11 yards per play after that third drive.
crazy.
yards per
It's
play.
it's
They're
crazy.
averaging over a first down every time they hiked it.
And I don't know what happened. We got to get Harms or Seth or somebody,
Yeah.
one of our film buddies on to tell us what happened. Like I don't understand what happened
I
after the
mean, the
first three
Jags could have
drives.
adjusted, which,
They could have, but
you
like
know,
but like I'm not a film guy, but like I can tell you in real time that some of these calls were not good. Like
oh, yes,
the
yes,
first one
yes,
where they
yes.
punted, the first punt after, they were up 14 to nothing. The call on 3rd and 2 was like I don't it was like a weird out to I think it was Hollywood and like it just was like there's one guy open on that side of the field and he wasn't open and
It was
Pat missed him.
Trav.
Like it
It was
was
Trav.
just it was bad. It just wasn't a good play call. Like you just didn't have it felt like when the offense was clicking the first three drives, there were like multiple options on every play. They had answers to everything.
Uh-huh.
Pat was making good choices and then like suddenly they didn't have any answers for like three or four drives there in the middle of the game. And then pick back up at the end. But like, why that lull? Like, if it was as simple as the Jags just adjusting, well, okay, maybe the Chiefs adjusted back, but they didn't adjust fast enough. Maybe. I 14 to nothing is not a big enough lead for people to get conservative with play calling, but we know that that's something the Chiefs like to do. I don't know. It just like,
Did you see the number about Andy?
no, tell me.
Andy Reid has the most blown 14 plus point leads in NFL history with
Sure.
18. But the
Okay.
real surprise, how much or how many do you think second place has if Andy has 18 and the most all time?
Well, this is like
I know.
this is a suffering from
Good
success
teams.
stat
Yep, I
because
agree. He's up
obviously and
14 more than a
Andy
lot of
is
people are.
and he's coached
And he's
a
coached a long
really
time.
he's
I agree.
coached
I agree.
what like probably at this point the sixth or seventh most games in NFL history.
I agree. Yep.
He's right up there. He's blown how many? 18?
18.
And second place is probably like 10.
I was going to say I asked you with the you know
Oh, the
the
number.
the or I
Do
mean
you
what I mean, yes, I know the number, but I mean that I you inferred that it was a much lower number than 18 by the way that I
Mhm.
asked because I
Yeah,
said
yeah, yeah,
the
right.
crazy thing is second place.
Yes,
It's
right.
12. And and it's
Sure. So a third
so
less.
yes, so he has done this a lot in his career where he gets up and then he takes the foot off the gas. And
Yeah.
some people have speculated he would never kind of tell you that his mindset and stuff like this, but he's so respectful and conscious of not making other people, look bad
Yeah.
essentially in
Right.
a sport where you have to kill the other team. You have to kill them dead or they will come back and they will kill you. And he just doesn't have that like all right, we're up 14 right now, like let's go make it 21, let's go make it 28. Like he's instead it's just like okay, run the ball a couple times, waste some clock, get it back to them. I don't know. He he's obviously I hate talking any trash about Andy Reid because I think he's wonderful. I think he's been the best thing that's ever happened to the Chiefs outside of Mahomes. And obviously, he's been responsible for more joy and happiness in my life than I think any stranger other than Mahomes. Like, it's, he's the best. But he doesn't have that killer instinct that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I definitely accuse Andy of some pretty crappy play calling there for sure.
Yeah, it was tough. Okay, so let's talk about the unit that we haven't talked about yet.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I for some reason, I'm not like the world's biggest Alice in Chains fan, but Man in the Box, there's a line in there. He goes, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I like clipped that in
I don't
preparation for
think
the
I knew
game.
that was Alice in Chains. I know
Well,
the song.
yeah,
That's
it's
great.
Alice in Chains.
That's great.
I clipped it as a reaction thing, and then I forgot to use it during the
Okay.
game. But oh my god, I could have used it on every single time special teams was out there for anything.
Jesus, they
Uh,
were
the
so bad.
last four returns in this game, they had penalties. It felt like it was every single one. But
Yep.
like when the game was on the line, the last four times that they were returning a kick, penalties every single time, including the final return where Brashard Smith burns like 6 seconds fighting for extra yards.
Mhm.
Those 6 seconds are way more valuable than the extra
Mhm.
3 yards that you're going to get on the return, because that's an extra play or two that you're going to run where you could pick up
Yeah.
20 or 25 yards in one play, which
Yeah.
you can't do when you are running into a pile of bodies. That's on coaching. Brashard Smith's a rookie, but like he's got to know better than that. You go straight, you go as far as you can, and the second you hit contact, you go down and you stop the clock. And all those extra yards didn't matter at all because there was a flag.
That's the biggest part. Yeah,
I
the
mean,
flag.
like that's the biggest part of it. But of course,
And it was Jack Cochran again, who had already done that once,
I know
held on a kickoff, and then he held
exactly.
on another kickoff. Drives me
I mean,
nuts.
it's crazy. Uh, but then you know the the loss can almost directly depend on. I mean, okay, maybe this is being a little dramatic, but like
Hmm.
Butker kicked the ball out of bounds to give the Jags the ball at the
Hmm.
40
Hmm.
when the Jags first of all, the Jags clock management in this game was
Awful,
preposterously bad.
awful.
It was
Couldn't believe it.
outrageous. I
That end of
honestly like
half,
it was one of the worst clock managed games I've ever seen a
I
coach
agree.
do in the NFL, and it makes sense because Liam Cohen's a rookie head coach.
Yes,
Okay, like
correct.
he's been an offensive play caller before, but he hasn't been a head coach and an offensive play caller before. It makes sense that he would not be good at clock management, and he was awful in this game. And you gave him essentially, I mean, 20 extra. I mean, if it's touchback, 15 extra yards. Like
Sure.
a couple of plays and the way the Jags were running their offense, uh, I mean, 15 yards, that could have been 25, 30 seconds. The way that the Jags were moving the ball in this game, that literally could have been the difference between them having time to score the go-ahead touchdown
Well,
or not.
think about the end of the game. I mean, they were at the one with 23 seconds left
Yeah.
and a running clock. Like
Yep.
that was, if you push them back another 15 or 20 yards,
Yep.
like yeah, you just can't give a team like that had one timeout and a minute 45 when you kicked off.
And they
You
had
cannot
one
give them
timeout because
half
they
a
were
field.
using bozo timeouts the whole game. I
Yes,
mean,
yes, they were really bad. That end of half one, just to recount that one because it was so funny. The Chiefs had a 3rd and 18, and then threw a little dump off nothing pass just to keep the clock running. And the Jags had one timeout, and so the Chiefs, if you don't use that one timeout, are going to burn the entire 40 seconds off the play clock. And so what you and I were texting about during
it's
that game
ridiculous.
is there's no way that one timeout is worth more than 40 seconds of play
Yeah,
clock.
it's
That's as
crazy.
most as you can possibly use.
It's
That's the
so
whole you
stupid.
can't. And so Liam Cohen kept that timeout in his play clock and then or in his pocket. And then when the drive started, he had a 13-yard pass, and then they just didn't use it. And then they got up to the line of scrimmage, and they had I mean, I could not believe that they handled and the end of half it was 14-7. You were right
Right.
in it. It's not like
Right.
it was 31-7 and the Jags were like, fuck it, let's just get to halftime. I mean,
I
they
mean,
were,
then their kicker made like a 70
Cam
yard
Little
field
made a
goal in the
70.
preseason.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. I
exactly. They
mean,
could have
all you had to
easily,
do was get to midfield and you could
right,
have had an extra 3 points, and they
right.
couldn't even do that. I
But
mean, like,
because they were down 4 at the end of the game instead of
sure.
3, I would have obviously preferred the Chiefs to be up 3 instead of 4, because I think
Yeah.
the Jags would have
Yes.
played for overtime.
I
You're at
know.
home, you're playing pretty good. I just don't think that
Yep.
when you make them, you know, have to get the touchdown, then they're going to do whatever they can. And they had 3rd and 7, and they were with a minute to go, and they dropped that pass in the bucket to Brian Thomas along the right side where Tamari Connor out mistimed his jump. And from there, it was, I'm seeing it all again in my head. It was
And
rough.
it's all because Butker kicks the ball out of bounds, which, like,
Correct.
there is no excuse for that. Like, I'm not
He's
an
the
NFL
highest paid
kicker,
kicker in the NFL, isn't he?
but like, yes, he is. And I'm not a kicker. So like, okay, if you wanna say like, oh well, you couldn't do it. Well, no shit, I couldn't do it.
No,
But
but
like
Butker
the
should be
highest
able to.
paid kicker in the NFL should never, ever, ever
Correct.
kick the ball out of bounds on a kickoff.
Correct.
Okay.
Unless it's like
Like,
a 50-mile-an-hour wind day or whatever. Like,
yeah.
you know,
And he should absolutely never, ever, 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 ever kick the ball out of bounds when
with
you're
that
up
much time.
4 with a
Yeah.
minute 40 left in the game.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you
If it was a
cannot
28-point
you
lead and he just kind
cannot
of
do
mailed
that.
one in,
Sure,
whatever.
whatever.
But like you've got to lock in, buddy.
It's
And
insane.
he's
It's
obviously
insane.
the opposite of locked in right now. I mean,
No,
he's
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 crazy.
costing the team every time he kicks the ball. It's
It's
crazy.
it's terrible. It's bad.
Special teams
Uh,
is so bad, dude.
it
I
was
can't
it
believe how
was
bad they
awful.
were in this one.
I honestly I can't dwell on the special teams too much. It's just gonna make me enraged. Like it was terrible. I mean, the special teams, you could make an argument for any one of the three units losing the Chiefs the game, like, which
Correct.
is crazy
They lost as a
because
team.
they
Yeah.
lost as a team, but
Yep.
like the offense, the pick six, and the little lull in the middle of the game, sure they were great overall, but you could make the argument that the defense, easy argument to make.
Easy.
The special teams should almost never be in a position to lose you the game,
I
and you
agree.
could absolutely make an argument that the special teams lost the Chiefs the game with the penalties, with the bad kickoff. I mean, it just
It's crazy that the special teams did not have a turnover. Normally, if the
it is
special
crazy.
team or a missed kick, like
Right,
a field goal,
right.
normally, your special teams loses because your punt guy muffs it or your
Yeah,
kicker can't get it,
exactly.
can't,
A turnover, yep,
but this
or a
was just
miss.
them mentally not being, I mean, these return holds are stupid. They need to not catch the ball and just let it bounce
Yeah,
wherever it may
right.
bounce
Sure.
and take the ball, fair catch it, or do whatever you got to do to not have a return because the return is only going to cost you yards. It's backwards every time they return the ball. It's unbelievable. I'm so mad.
It's bad. Really quick and accuse. We'll throw it in here at the end because it was not the reason the Chiefs lost, but the refs were
No,
egregiously bad in this game.
they're bad.
The refs were egregiously bad in this game, and the Monday night crew was egregiously bad in talking about the penalties. Joe Buck, Aikman, and
Russell Yerk especially.
Russell Yerk, their rules analyst, who I've never heard of
Yeah,
before.
he's been on Monday Night for a couple years
Um,
now.
this is the first time I took notice of him because his takes were egregiously bad.
Yep.
Like the touchdown that everybody said was a pick, it wasn't a pick. It was within a yard of the line of scrimmage. It's
Yes.
literally on the dots that are based on the player tracking software.
Yeah,
It
that
literally
was good.
showed it happen
Uh-huh.
within a yard of the line of scrimmage. Uh, and yet the narrative after the game, despite the fact that the Chiefs were out penaltied 13-4
Mm-hmm.
and by over 100 yards differential in penalty yardage in this game, people were talking about the refs helping
It,
the Chiefs.
it's never
And
enough for
like
these people. It's
the
never enough.
narrative was that the Chiefs were helped out by the refs and they would have lost even harder if the refs hadn't been bailing them out because of the way it's talked about in real time. And like
Yes.
I
Yes.
I tweeted
Warren
about this during
Sharp.
the game. There's just like exactly, and it's just a bunch of clickbaiters out there that are doing it because they know it drives engagement. But like it is bad for the game for people to have this information beamed into their heads by people that aren't
Mm-hmm.
thinking
Mm-hmm.
about what it is that they're doing and peddling false information. It's bad for the game, especially in an environment where the NFL is in bed with sports gambling. Like
Yes.
you are creating problems for yourself
Yes.
by giving this content to the masses. You are creating a toxic environment for fans, for gambling. It's not good for the league. It's a bad look. The refs were bad, and the commentary about the refs was even worse than the refs.
Ben Baldwin had a good tweet today where he said, I know I'm going to get roasted for this, but I don't think this was pass interference. We're talking about the McDuffie play, which was another
Yes.
one. That was
Yes.
the one that I thought Russell Yerk was worse on.
Yeah.
Was
It was
there
awful.
was incidental contact, two players that didn't see each other that were running and just smashed into each other 5 yards down the field before the ball was thrown. That is never DPI, ever, ever, ever. If anything, the incidental contact would be offensive pass interference if it's ever called. But it resulted in a McDuffie pick, and then Buck and Aikman were asking Yerk during that, like, well, isn't this? And he goes, oh yeah, that's an egregious pass interference that was missed on here. Just completely blew it and had no idea what it was. And then, but the Ben Baldwin tweet was like, hey, I know I'm going to get roasted for this, but like, I'm pretty sure this is not pass interference. And the reason that I bring up the way that he worded that is because people are afraid to like even have an opinion that's like, and hey guys, I actually
shout out to Ben because he's had like
Ben.
4 tweets about the Chiefs in the last 24 hours where he has put out almost that exact same, hey, I know I'm going to get roasted for this, but like the Chiefs are good, they're good at the game.
Yeah.
The refs don't favor them, etc. So on and so forth.
The refs thing in general, of course it's never made sense, but like now, if these people think about it for a second, when the refs threw 13 flags on the Chiefs and 4 on the Jaguars, and the Chiefs are 2-3, and like clearly it's not working. Like if the refs are cheating for the Chiefs, they're doing a really bad job of it. And in fact, they look like they're cheating against the Chiefs, if anything. But how is this still the prevailing narrative? Like the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl last year. And so how could the refs be just so what? So the league decided at one point, like, well, we were going to help them, but only when, only every now and then we're
Yeah,
gonna like tip the scales randomly for
I
them.
can I can answer this question. I can answer
Please
this
do.
question. It's because they think that the Chiefs are terrible. And
Worse.
the
And the
only reason that the
Yeah.
Chiefs win any game ever
Yeah.
is because the refs are in bed with
Or
them. And
even move the ball
the
positively
fact
down the
that
field.
exactly the fact that Mahomes is the worst quarterback ever.
Uh-huh.
The only reason the Chiefs ever win games at all is because the officials come in and help them. So
Yep.
if the Chiefs win the game, it's because the refs help them. If the Chiefs lose the game,
It's because not
the
even the refs can
refs
help
the
them.
refs still help them, but not even the refs could save them because they're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so bad at football, which is
Yeah.
just it's let's not
Preposterous.
waste any more time
Preposterous.
talking about this. Boy, these were lively mourns and accuses,
You
as
knew
you
they
would
would be.
expect, as you would expect from a game of this nature. But let's turn up the positivity here. Let's get to cope. This is where we cope. This is the part where we talk about the things that were good, and I like
Our Coke
uh
notes are a lot smaller.
they are a lot smaller, but also they're no less significant. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I and unfortunately a lot of this cope is kind of like, well, this could be great next year. It could be good this year, but like we've already talked about the difficulties with the schedule. I'm not waving the white flag on this team, but like uh I will say, just a peek behind the curtain, like, sometimes prepping the show takes, an hour or more.
Yeah.
Um, I jotted down the cope in about 13 seconds.
Roughly.
And uh it's easy. I mean, it's easy because there was so much good in this game, which of course is
Yeah.
why we've spent the last hour talking about the Warren and accused, because it's so damn frustrating that they lost. But like, number one, the offense was great in this game. We talked about, the 12 yards per play through the first three drives. They
Yeah.
still finished the game above 8 yards per play, which is like an impossibly good mark. Like the offense was
Yeah.
prolific in this game against a pretty good Jags defense.
Yep.
A Jags defense that is turnover reliant and got obviously a huge turnover in this game. But the offense was great. I mean, we already mentioned it, alluded to it. Kareem Hunt had a 30-yard run in this game. I didn't know that was possible.
No,
Like
me neither.
Kareem Hunt hasn't come close to sniffing a 30-yard run
No.
in his entire tenure with the Chiefs, in the second tenure with the Chiefs.
And that run
And
was out of the goal line. It was like super
yeah,
necessary for the Chiefs
yeah,
to get out of it, and he just
they were
ripped one
clearly giving
off.
it to Kareem as
Yeah.
opposed to Pacheco, because
Yeah.
Kareem can actually see gaps.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he gets out of the open field and it's like, oh my God, I kind of, like we just come out of, commercial possession change, whatever. And I'm like, what just happened? Why are we at the 30? Yeah. Kareem Hunt just had a 30-yard
It's
run.
crazy.
Pacheco had his best game in forever. I mean, I
Mhm.
can't. I mean,
Mhm.
you'd have to go back to like maybe the Jets game at the beginning of the Taylor era, maybe, where he
Correct.
had that long touchdown. Like, I mean, but this wasn't just one big play. It was him
S-
consistently popping into the
s-
second level.
7 rushes for 36 yards, including a long of 16, and some really 3 catches for 20 yards. Really nice contributions. I mean, he completely, like you said, best game he's had since that Jets game for sure.
The offensive line was fantastic in this game. Like I'm still getting used to this, and I think Pat's still getting used to this a little bit, but like
Yeah,
there will be
me
there will be
too.
times when I'll be watching the play and I'm like, how is he still in the pocket? How's
Yep.
this possible? We have been so conditioned as Chiefs fans, and you can tell with Pat that it's taken a couple of games to get to this point where he's comfortable hanging in the pocket. We've seen him develop bad habits of bailing from the
Mhm.
pocket because for the past 4 years, really since the Fisher Schwartz duo uh evaporated, uh
Mm.
he hasn't had pockets to hang in. And
Evaporated.
yeah, I mean they
Yeah, I know.
imploded,
I know.
evaporated,
They did.
spontaneously combusted, whatever
They
you
did.
want to say. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. um he's been great. The offensive line has been great. I mean, like Kingsley has improved every week.
Yeah, he looks good.
He surrendered, I think, no pressures in this game. Josh Simmons has been as advertised. The run blocking was obviously fantastic in this game. As you would expect, with the running backs really kind of popping off. Like this offensive line, everybody's under contract currently through at least 2027. And where they're playing really good right now. And like that could help the Chiefs this year. It will help the Chiefs this year. Whether it
Yep.
will be enough to help the Chiefs into the playoffs and beyond, I don't know. But like they're getting better every week. Pat is getting better with them every week. Like he clearly is starting to trust them more, be able to hang in the pocket more. Uh it was great. It was fantastic.
I,
I mean,
if you look at big picture team stats in this game, in a game where the Chiefs went on the road to
yeah,
a good Jacksonville team, just this is crazy. They the only single statistical category that the Chiefs were not either better or demonstrably better than the Jags was the penalties. So listen to this.
sure.
First downs, Chiefs 26, Jags 21.
Hmm.
Third down efficiency, both teams were 5 for 9, and you're above 500 there. So I mean, it's not like both teams were
Yeah, you're
2 of
cooking.
12 or whatever. You're doing good.
Right.
You're doing good there. Fourth downs, the Chiefs didn't go for one. The Jags missed one, so they're better at fourth down efficiency. Yards, which is the biggest one in the whole game. Chiefs 476, Jags 319. The
Yeah.
and in the Mahomes era, when the Chiefs have gone over 400 and held their opponent under 350, the Chiefs were 28-0 before
Uh,
this game, which is not
Jeez.
surprising. I mean, you've got 400 and whatever yards of offense, and you're holding the other team down. You're feeling pretty good about your chances there, and so
And then they
that
also technically won the turnover battle.
that's what I mean.
Like,
So that
I
we
mean,
keep going. Yards per play, Chiefs 7.6, Jags 5.9. I
uh,
mean, interceptions, both teams threw one. Sacks, Chiefs did not allow a sack. They sacked Trevor Lawrence 3 times in this game. Rushing, which is crazy when we talked about in the going into this game how much better the Jags rushing offense, Travis Etienne and all that stuff. Rushing, Chiefs 158 yards, Jags 109 yards per rush. Chiefs 7.2, Jags 4.2. Red zone attempts, Chiefs were 4 of 5, Jags were 3 of 4. Turnovers, Jags 2, Chiefs 1. Possession, Chiefs 32 minutes, Jags 28. There was one number in the whole team comparison that was the Jags even won at all, and it was penalties, Chiefs 13, Jags 4. That was it. They
yep.
were undisciplined. And yeah, we bitched about the refs because they were really bad, but there were also some really dumb penalties
Yeah,
by the
there
Chiefs.
were.
There
There
was
were.
a there was a personal foul on Hollywood Brown
Yeah.
where there was some speculation that maybe he got spit on, which has already happened a couple times in the NFL this year. But he on an offensive drive, you cannot pick up a late. It was second down. It was the end of first down, and then he punches just right hand punches the Jags defender and gets called for 15. That's going to kill your drive. Like that's
Yeah.
just you cannot go backwards 15 yards off a penalty, off a stupid emotional penalty like that. But we're coping right now, and the reason that this is cope is because they dominated. They looked better. The 99-yard pick six and all the penalties meant that the Jags won the game, but like the Chiefs did honestly a lot of good things on tape and in the box score and all that stuff in this one. It just wasn't enough.
I wish I could remember who said this, so I could attribute it to. I think it was maybe was one of the only Weird Games guys, either Seth or
Josh.
Josh. But somebody said I would rather play well and lose than look bad and win out of sheer luck. And that's completely fine because
I'd rather
well,
win the
yeah,
game.
no,
I
I get
mean,
it. I get it. But
yeah,
like the point is,
yeah,
you all things being equal, you
yes,
would rather your team be good and you would rather your
yes.
team be dominant and
Lose
like
fluky
yeah,
and
exactly.
still feel uh-huh,
If
uh-huh.
you lose badly, and this is a bad loss in many ways, but like the Chiefs were the better team in this game. They
They were.
lost the game, but they were
They
the
were.
better team.
I agree.
Uh they are the better team. Now the problem with this is you started off 2-3. Now you have to face a juggernaut of a Lions team. Could be 2-4, and then you get the Raiders, and you're 3-4. And we've already talked about the math. Like, the problem is you put yourself in a hole, but at least the team is good. Like, I think this is this is basically the same team as this is a better team than last year. In fact, one of my followers, I forget who it is, but shout out to you, you know who you are. I said it was an astute observation, and I stand by that.
I did see
Uh,
this.
somebody said this team was always going to be better than last year's team and have a worse record. And like that's absolutely 1000% correct. Like we knew the Chiefs were not going to go 11-0 in one score games, they're 0-3. We also knew that the Chiefs were going to have a much healthier team this year, which so far they have.
James Dollinger.
Um,
I had that tweet up very
nice.
recently. James Dollinger said that the exact quote, and you're right. You're absolutely right. It was a great observation.
It is great observation, and I mean it's playing out. The problem is, being a better team doesn't matter unless you you convert that into wins. So we need to do that. But we're in Cope now.
Yep.
I don't want to go back to
I know.
Mourner
I
Accuse.
know. I know. We're bleeding
Um,
back in. You
they're only
unzipped me.
they're only a game back in the division. That's
Yeah.
that's that's pretty important
The
because
Chargers are charging hard.
you know what, your easiest path, we talked about, whether it takes 10 wins, 11 wins, whatever. The easiest path for the Chiefs to make the playoffs is just to win the AFC West again. They
One
still have
game over the Chargers. That's the path.
That's the
Yeah.
path, and 2 games over the Broncos. Like
Well, right.
if
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you if
Assuming.
you beat those, I mean, if you go 5-0 against the division the rest of the way, you're going to win the division and you're going to be in the playoffs. Like I feel very confident. I mean, there's obviously other games that are going to happen as well,
Yeah.
but like if the Chiefs sweep the division, they're going to win the division and they're going to be in the playoffs. And it doesn't matter what their record is, right? Like if you win a division game, you're also taking a game away from your division rival.
Correct. Correct. That's why they're
setting
so
up you're setting up the tiebreakers. If they sweep the Broncos, they would automatically have the tiebreaker over the Broncos. With the Chargers, they already have one head-to-head, so then it gets into
conference record.
Conference record.
Might
or is
be
it division
division
record?
first. It's division first.
Well,
Which
then if
they
you're
would go
5-1,
5-1.
if
Yes.
you're 5-1,
Yes.
and
the Broncos, or sorry,
now
the
the Chargers
Chargers
started off 3-0.
Started off
Like
3-0.
it's the division.
So, but you would have to get them. They would have to lose one more to either the Raiders or the Broncos to give that to the Chiefs. But even if they tied, even if both teams went 5-1, you go to conference next, and the Chiefs have one loss against the Eagles. They're probably going to have another loss against the Lions, but their AFC record so far, well, they beat the Giants. That was one. Okay. Regardless, you're right. You chase down the Chargers, and it doesn't, or the division, and it doesn't really matter. Just win the West and win the West for the 10th year in a row, please, guys. Please. Can we do that?
Like when the Chargers were 3-0 and we were 1-2, that looked like a very tough path because the Chargers have a much easier schedule than the Chiefs.
Yep.
But the Chargers have done what the Chargers do, which is watch their entire team get injured and lose games that they should win. Omarion Hampton now. Yeah, every week we give a Chargers injury update. He's on IR now. Both their tackles are on IR, and they looked like it against the Commanders. Herbert had no time in the pocket. They were
thoroughly outclassed.
They got completely outclassed in that game. And, it's really hard to win games in the NFL if you have no tackles. Like
it's hard to win games in the NFL if you're the best team in the NFL.
And they just lost Trey Pipkins, who's like one of their top backup tackles. Like they're now rolling into essentially practice squad level tackles.
I hadn't heard about Pipkins yet.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. I said this a million times. They are the most reliable thing in sports.
They are.
They really
are. And I actually don't know how long Pipkins is out, but he came out in that Commanders game. He got hurt in the Commanders game, and I don't think he came back in. So
God.
I mean, they're walking wounded, and they I really hate to make this prediction about the Chargers because I do think they're a much better coach team now under Jim Harbaugh, and they're professionally
You're not sure which Harbaugh it was?
I thought about it for a second. I always have to think about it.
I almost asked you when Odafe Owe was trading from the Ravens to the Chargers if you could tell me which one got him and which one sent him.
Which Harbaugh traded to which Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Jim. They're a professional organization, but as you said, they're the most reliable thing in sports. It doesn't matter if they're a professional organization. It doesn't matter who's running the organization. They're just they're going to do Chargers things. So win the division. It doesn't matter how many games you win the division. You can win the division with 8 wins if the rest of the division is bad enough. We get an old NFC East action coming back here and go whatever 7-10 and win the division. And host a home playoff game at that point, just win the AFC West. Rashee Rice will be back soon. We only have one more game to play without Rashee Rice.
I love that.
I get a lot of people. I kind of, I posted this, they're going to be 2-4, but they're going to get Rashee Rice back. They'll probably be fine. A lot of people responded to that and they were like, that's not going to fix the pass rush. It's not going to fix the defense. You're right. It's not going to fix that because Rashee Rice does not play defense. However, if you're scoring 35 points a game,
correct,
your defense matters a lot less. And to be clear, the defense was bad in this game, but if you take out the pick six, I mean, they gave up 28. What was the final score in this game?
Oh, the 31-28 Jags.
Sure.
So they gave up 24 points.
They gave up 24 points to a pretty good Jags team on the road.
Yeah.
And you have Steve Spagnuolo as your defensive coordinator, playoff Spags and a box of scraps and a team that's scoring 35 points a game.
Sure,
Like I
it's worked
basically said,
before.
like if you had Spags in 2018, that team wins the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Like I,
They
if you
almost won it with Sutton.
exactly, if you just replace Bob Sutton with Spags,
Yeah,
like, and that team was one of the worst defenses in the NFL that year. I mean, I think they were 24th in defensive DVOA.
right,
You
which
know,
seems generous.
a bottom 10 team that like could rush the quarterback but could do nothing else.
Yeah.
If the current Chiefs defensive coaching staff, Spags, Dave Merritt, was on that 2018 Chiefs staff instead of Bob Sutton, they easily, I don't even think that there's a question. Like
They
they
might go undefeated.
probably, exactly. I mean, so if you could get back to something close to that offense, it kind of doesn't really matter how good your defense
No,
is.
what drives me nuts about he won't fix blank, he won't fix every other job that he doesn't do. It's like you don't have to fix every job. You have to be
No.
one play better than the other team.
Yeah.
You have to beat the other team. And I'm sorry, you don't have to blow everybody out by 28 points to be the best team in the NFL. Like you just
Right.
don't. And getting Rasheed back means one extra drive that would have been a punt is now a touchdown. That would have been, would have been a short, quick, nothing drive is now all of a sudden the Chiefs can eat up some clock because they could go over the middle. You change the whole trajectory of the game by adding an elite player on offense. And Rasheed Rice, for all accounts, is an elite player.
Yeah.
This is
Oh,
not.
I mean,
They're not missing some, role player. They're not missing Demarcus Robinson from this offense. They're missing their number one target, their number one pass catching target. And I just, you're right. This is the ultimate cope. Rasheed Rice has been the ultimate cope for the first 5 games of the year now,
sure.
because every time we think about this team, we just think, well, let's add a dude that we know is a dude in after week 6, and we'll just see what shakes out. And I mean, I can't imagine this offense is not going to come out in week 7 against the Raiders. No matter, they're going to have at least 3 losses going into that Raiders game.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're going to go out and you would think, put on the light show. We'll see, I guess.
Rasheed Rice last year had 288 yards in 3 games before he
Yeah,
got
he was freaking cooking.
If you extrapolate that out, that's like a 1,600 yard season over a full season.
Yeah.
He had 24 receptions in 3 games.
And dude, the way that they use him in the offense too, it's like third down conversions.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, they rely on him. He is not just an explosive, like, we're going to throw up a jump ball. And if Rasheed gets it, cool. No, he is like the offense when he's in.
He is the only player that fills that role. I mean, like, this is a role
Correct.
that a much younger Juju Smith-Schuster would perform.
Yeah.
And Juju's still occasionally getting out there, but like the guy
or a much younger Travis, really.
Or a much younger Travis, the guy that's going to make tough catches over the middle of the field and then give you some yak.
Yep.
And like Rasheed is like the supercharged version of that.
Yeah, he's really good at it.
That you don't currently have in the offense. So like, you have Tyquan Thornton, who, by the way,
cooked,
is still an absolute dude.
He's on cope. That's cope.
He's incredible.
3 catches for 90 yards. Dude averages 30 every time he catches the ball.
And he tracked a ball in the air and came back and got it, which like no Chiefs receiver on
has ever done.
Has ever done in the history of this franchise.
Yep.
I mean, like him and Worthy, Worthy is kind of like a gadget, a gadget go route guy right now. Like Xavier Worthy is more than that. And he's a more complex receiver than that, but like they need Rasheed Rice back to get Worthy's route tree opened up.
Correct.
Everybody eats.
Yep.
Everybody got to eat. And that's what's going to happen when Rasheed Rice comes back. That's kind of the ultimate cope. I mean, like, sure, the Chiefs will be 2-4, but then they might have the best offense in the NFL. They probably will have the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah. Already pretty close to it.
Let's talk briefly about a team that actually, that might actually have the best offense in the NFL.
Thinking.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions are coming to Arrowhead on Sunday. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this game. We both think the Chiefs are going to lose. Call us bad fans, whatever you want. I put $100 on the Lions.
I also did. When you told me today that it moved from 1.5 to 2.5.
Yeah, it moved to 2.5. I
popped
like
that
a chump. I was like, oh my God. I thought Lions plus 1.5. It's not going to get better than that. I got to go deposit $100 in my DraftKings account and bet against the Chiefs. And then I checked it again today and it was Lions plus 2.5, which I guess means that the movement, the sharps, they're getting in on the Chiefs. What does Vegas know?
I don't understand
I
that
know.
line at
I
all.
don't. I
And in
don't. I
fact,
don't get it either.
just based on, I don't even care if the Chiefs had won this Jags game
I know.
and the Chiefs were
I
three and
know.
two. It's the fact that the Lions
The Lions are
look
a
like the
unit,
best
man.
team in the NFL when they're out there. They yes, they lost week one when they had a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. The Packers had freaking Micah and they were hyped up and they
Yeah.
kicked the shit out of the Lions. And that happens. But since then, when they're 4-0, they're not just 4-0. This team cooks. They
Yeah. No,
are
they're
nasty
outrageous.
and they're explosive. And you and I had a long love fest conversation about Jared Goff the other day and how cool he is and
Yeah, he's
how
cool.
effective he is and how it's just, I mean,
Yeah.
they are annoying because of how good they are, not because of anything that they've done personality wise, or they
Cool.
have not
Cool
offended
team.
me. They're very cool. And
Like them a
Goss
lot.
2-0 against Mahomes in his
Yeah.
career, one of
Right.
the only few Mahomes killers left in this God's forsaken universe. And I I just, like you said, I can't really see this game going the Chiefs' way. Doesn't mean that it couldn't. If they play any NFL game in NFL history 10 times, you're very rarely going to get a 10-0 sweep. But like, I just don't see the matchup working for the Chiefs. I think the Lions have too much gas on offense, and I think they have a good explosive defense. They're top five. They're fifth in EPA in both offense and defense. This
Yeah.
team does not have a weakness right now.
No, it doesn't. I mean, they did lose Terrion Arnold, one of their star cornerbacks, not necessarily for the year, but he's not going to be playing in this game. Their secondary is a little bit banged up, but like in the trenches, the Chiefs are going to get dominated.
Cooked.
Definitely on when the Lions are on offense. Like the
Yes, that's
Lions,
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, Goff is going to have all day in the
Yep.
pocket to
Yep.
dice the Chiefs up.
Jameer
And
Gibbs, David
yeah,
Montgomery,
yeah. And
Amon
on
Ra. Ugh.
Amon Ra, they've got Jameson Williams to hit
Yeah.
those shots over the top. I mean, look,
Laporta. Ugh.
since week one when they scored 13 against the new look Green Bay defense with Micah Parsons, since then they put up 52 on the Bears.
Yeah.
They put up 38 on the Ravens, which
Yeah.
looks
Who doesn't?
maybe a little bit less impressive now,
Yeah.
but at the time
Right.
they put up 34 on the Browns, who
That's
have a
good.
really good defense.
Yes.
And I mean, I get that they're the Browns and Joe Flacco and whatever. The Browns did have 3 turnovers in that game. So like, but they put up 34 points. They only had 277 total yards, but they put up 34 points. They obviously destroyed the Bengals.
Destroyed.
37 points against the Bengals. So I mean, 52, 38, 34, and 37 points per the last 4 games.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good against one team with a good defense and 3 teams with pretty mid defenses. But the problem is the Chiefs are a team with a mid defense, and that might even be
Generous.
putting it a little bit generously. The Chiefs are 23rd in EPA on defense against. They're 10th against the pass. They're 31st against the run, which like we joke about this all the time. Like we trick teams into choosing not to run. You can't trick the Lions into choosing not to run. The Lions love to run the ball.
They're
like
very good at it.
They love to do it. They're
Yeah.
extremely good at it. A Dan Campbell team, you kidding me? They would be the team that would just hand the ball off 50 times if they thought it was going to win the game. And they might just do it for fun.
They have a 52% pass rate, 31st in the NFL. They literally do hand the ball off 50% of the time. I mean, that's their offense. And
it's crazy.
They
against the 31st ranked rushing defense is not. It's not.
No, it's not a good recipe. And the Chiefs, the way that they play these games, these kind of big time shootout games, it just doesn't really lend itself. If the other team's going to be able to run really well, and if the Chiefs can't bait the Lions into passing, like I think about the Ravens all the time because the Ravens are the quintessential Chiefs outcoach you, Chiefs out scheme you, they out matchup you, they get you to do stuff you don't like to do. I mean, the Chiefs run circles around the Ravens. They have for years.
Right.
And the reason that they do it is usually because the Ravens love to run the ball and they're really good at it. And they have 2 of the best rushers of the football in NFL history.
Right.
And the Chiefs somehow Jedi mind trick them into passing all the time when they play. And it never works. And maybe it'll work next time, but it sure hasn't worked so far. And
work for us.
and it just feels like the Lions are not going to fall for that crap. They're not going to get baited.
Chance.
They're not going to they do what they want to do. They're going to run trick plays. That's the other thing. These Lions are so fun.
Yeah.
every time I watch them, I'm like, oh, that's like a halfback pass, and
Yeah,
that's
and
like
Ben
a
Johnson's not even there anymore.
no,
Like,
but they,
but they
he left his
clearly have.
playbook there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I look, I'll be as thrilled as you will, and as anybody will, if the Chiefs pull this game off. It'll sure mean a lot to end this Rashee Rice less streak. It's 3-3. I mean, that's
I mean,
if they
it
beat the
changes.
Lions, they're
Yeah,
winning the Super
exactly.
Bowl.
It
Like,
changes the entire outlook of the season. This is
yes, yes,
it's not over if they lose,
no,
but like if they win, it is a huge inflection point. We're going to have an incredible show with Ranny
yeah,
to talk about it. It's going to be great. We will welcome him back with open arms. I mean, like we talked about the math earlier, and the
yes,
math was assuming you're going to lose the
two and
Lions, but
four,
like
right?
if you beat the Lions and you're 3-3, that makes the math so much better. Not just for a wild card spot, but like you're now, even though the Lions are an NFC team, you're getting an NFC team win. But like you're 3-3 instead of 2-4, that puts you in control almost of the division race. Like
Absolutely.
you can very easily win the AFC West if you're three and
You
three.
could be
It's a
first
lot
place in
harder
the
if you're two
AFC
and four.
West when you beat the Raiders in week 7. I
Yeah,
mean, if,
right.
depending on how chargery the Chargers really want to get with stuff, it's all back on the table if they can get past these Lions. Now, I mean, if I had $100 bet, which I do, and I did, I'm betting on the Lions. I don't think the Chiefs are going to win this game. That does not make me a bad fan. That does not make me root against the Chiefs. That does not make me think that I doubt the Chiefs or what they're capable of or anything. All it means is that this is a really, really tough matchup against one of the league's best teams. And right now, the Chiefs are not one of the league's best teams. They're 2-3. They're playing exactly like a 2-3 team would play. They got to get their shit together, and maybe they will.
Maybe, I mean, the Chiefs sounded a little desperate. Mahomes said we already have too many losses.
Yeah,
I hope that energy comes out on Sunday, and I hope the Chiefs shock us, and we will both be very happy to lose our $100 if
very
that
happy.
happens. And we'll be having a joyous show next week. We'll see what happens, but it's always sunny in Chiefs Kingdom. See you next time.